Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Zahid Hussain Jamro, a research associate at CLAS, and on behalf of the Center for Law and Security, I warmly welcome you to today's webinar titled Bangladesh Beyond Elections, Domestic Priorities and Their Impact on Regional Diplomacy. The recent elections in Bangladesh have reaffirmed the country's political trajectory and opened a new phase of domestic governance and foreign policy directions. As a key economic and strategic actor in South Asia, Bangladesh's internal priorities will significantly influence regional cooperation, trade, and geopolitical alignments. We are honored to host two distinguished speakers. With, with us today, we have Ambassador Rafiuzzaman Siddiqui, who was a career diplomat and has served in Pakistan's High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Kenya, and permanent representative of Pakistan to UNEP and UN Habitat. And our second distinguished guest is Dr. Tahir Jamil, an expert on South Asian geopolitics and regional cooperation, and he is currently assistant professor at Area Study Center, Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad. So, sir, I'll start from Sir Rafiuzzaman Siddiqui, sir. Sir, to what extent does the BNP victory signal a change in Bangladesh's strategic priorities compared to the policies pursued during prior Awami League-led administration?
First of all, let me just thank you very much, Zahid, for inviting me to this webinar. You know, Bangladesh is very close to my heart. I have some very deep familial associations with that country as well. I don't know, because, you know, I served in Bangladesh twice, both in good and bad times. The first time when I went there, you know, BNP was in government. So our relations with Bangladesh were beautiful, very hunky-dory. And when I went there, it was in the junior capacity. I went there as a counselor in 2002, and I was there for almost 4 years. And then I was sent again just prior to my retirement. I went there from 2016 to 18. So I retired from Bangladesh. And those were the challenging days because Sheikh Hasina was in the government. So I could, you know, make the difference between the two, keeping in view my own experience of Bangladesh. You see, Bangladesh during Khaleda Zia's time was, I mean, they were very, very nice to us. We were not treated like pariah as we were during Sheikh Hasina's time. There was no linkages of any kind when Awami League was ruling the country, because that's the party which carried the political baggage from 1971. And I mean, the issue of 1971, the apology issue basically, it remained during BNP's time also, but it was on the periphery. Whereas on the contrary, when Sheikh Hasina came into power, and whenever she was in power, this would turn out to be the main kind of thorn in our relations. So much so that being the High Commissioner in Bangladesh during the period I mentioned, I was almost treated as like a, you know, PNG. Although I was short of declaring me PNG, any kind of relations with the host government were very tense. And there were many occasions when I was summoned for issues which were, you know, not really very peculiar, but I was called by the host government, by the Bangladeshi Foreign Office, and I was really taken to task. But anyway, so this change, this phenomenal and dramatic change, which occurred soon after these recent elections, in fact, had started giving, you know, came also the glad tidings came when Sheikh Hasina left the power in 2004 after the students' youth movement, which is also known as monsoon. You know, it was a monsoon change because it brought many good things for Pakistan. We started at least talking, and our relations started improving. And suddenly, Pakistan became, you know, a good boy as compared to the bad boy that we were. And kind of, you know, the tables changed, and India became the bad boy soon after 2004. And so you see the difference between the two. And the good things, please stop me when you feel that I'm exceeding my time limit. So what happened was that after 2004, um, there was a, we could see the change that there was interaction between our two ministries. Our foreign secretary visited Dhaka, the foreign minister, the deputy prime minister visited Dhaka. The flights start resumed. The BNP, the Biman Airlines came to Karachi, and they started their service. We, of course, can't fly to Dhaka because of restriction. We can't overfly India, so we have to take a very long route. So it is not cost beneficial for us. So we are still, PIA is still not operating. So, and after that, when Tariq Rahman took the reins of the government after his very successful and phenomenal win, things even started improving further. That Iqbal Hasan Saab, the Minister for Planning, went to represent Pakistan at a swearing-in ceremony, and we signed lots of agreements, MOUs. That was happening even before. So things have changed, I would say, dramatically, and it's a phenomenal change. So I hope it will continue, and we hope that Tariq Rahman would carry forward our relations, and we would also, put in our bit in improving the ties. We see, enhancement in defense cooperation. We see enhancement in trade. We see enhancement in, scholarships that are being given to the Bangladeshi students in various disciplines. So these are all, they are all indicative of our improvement of in ties between our two countries.
Sure, sir. Sir, Dr.
Yeah.
Tahir, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening.
Sir, what are the likely to be Bangladesh's key foreign policy priorities following the recent elections, and how might these shape its relation with neighboring countries like India, China, and Pakistan in particular?
Okay. It was all tragic for me while watching this mayhem, which was going to take place just prior to the elections in Bangladesh. I was really confused. I was really a bit dejected because I was thinking that the way the sectoral development was taking place in Bangladesh, that is going to act as a milestone for Pakistan and rest of the South Asian countries, and the way it was developing in its in terms of economy, in terms of exports, particularly textile exports, then this development was transpiring in the development of the rural area. So it really soothing for me because at least there is a country who is trying to balancing out itself vis-a-vis India, vis-a-vis other South Asian nations in terms of trade and economic progress. But this episode which happened, it was sometime used to have a doubt the way the Hasina Wajid regime was going to extend itself, and she was going to control everything in her own hands. And at least it ended in a debacle. It ended in a big tragedy. Now Tariq Rahman government is over there, and hopefully it has come to election. And good omen is that the personas like Dr. Yunus are there. They are guiding the governments. Right now, if Bangladesh is going to in terms of its trade, in terms of its export, it would be a big achievement for the Bangladesh. And how it is going to be balance out its relation with India, it is again going to be a biggest challenge for Bangladesh in the region. With Pakistan, it is very cordial relations, and both nations love each other. And I think they have come out of the trauma of 1971. Although at the election time it is repeated by the Bangladesh leadership, but it is not going to work well. Now these things are fading out. Uh, in the past, now both nations are heading progress in terms of their relations. I think Bangladesh will easily catch up with its relations which it has with Pakistan, with India, with other South Asian countries, with China definitely. China right now, Bangladesh right now the biggest garments producer in the world, I think after China. And Bangladesh, and this transition has taken place. It has not destroyed much of the society over there, and it will work well. And China would have one important challenge, that's India. Because when I look at regional connectivity in India, it seems to me a bit shaky. Because India, being the biggest power in South Asia, it does not have any correlation with its neighbor, including Bhutan, including Nepal, including Pakistan, including Bangladesh. But Bangladesh economic progress would little let India to develop some very accurate sort of relations with Bangladesh. I just hope there would be a promising future, but how it is going to be executed through foreign policy choices by Bangladesh, it is yet to come, and we have to wait for it for a near future. That how this government is going to prioritize its foreign policy options for the sake of its internal strength, economic strength, trade vis-a-vis India, vis-a-vis Pakistan, vis-a-vis China.
Sure, sir. Sir Siddiqui, my second question from you will be that what opportunities and challenges do BNP victory present for Pakistan's diplomatic engagement with Bangladesh, and how these challenges will be overcome by Pakistan?
I think, Zahid, I have briefly touched upon these issues in my previous answer, but I think challenges are, of course, there. And like Professor Yunus, when he met our Deputy Prime Minister and when our Foreign Secretary met her counterpart in April last year, they did mention a policy issue. And in fact, Dr. Yunus, in his meeting with the Prime Minister, laid accent on the fact that unless and until we resolve this issue, our relations, this would remain a constant sticking point in our relations. And when we talk of our relations with Pakistan, as I mentioned, that we see a phenomenal rise in our relations with Bangladesh. And there's a lot of camaraderie between the people of our two countries, despite the fact that there are, we do carry up some historical baggage of 1971. And I always believe that what had happened in 71, I mean, it was a fait accompli. This had to happen. Two countries apart with the hostile neighbor in between. It was difficult for our two, wings to stay together. And besides that, because of our own, policies, both at the political and the establishment level, they were not really, I will be very honest to say, right. And this could have been a very, a civil divorce rather than being a bloody one. I always feel that because having lived in Bangladesh, I realized that, I mean, I used to feel really bad that we have lost such a beautiful part of our country, such a beautiful culture. Bangladesh's relation, is very rich in its culture, whether it be music, whether it be art or painting, or, I mean, they are really very refined. And so I really used to feel bad. But now, thank God, our relations are on the upward trajectory, and we see a constant improvement, constant rise in those relations. But at the same time, we have to be very mindful of the fact that it's like walking on a tightrope. We have to be very careful. We should not get overambitious. We should be, this I'm saying because of my own experience having lived in Bangladesh. Because you see, there are still many detractors, India being one. Like many say that during these elections, Raw was playing a very critical role. And I feel, kind of, driving away from your main question, I would also mention that for in Bangladesh, India, which is a very huge neighbor, it surrounds Bangladesh from three sides. And it's, it's economically dependent, it's culturally dependent. Kolkata is their Makkah, cultural Makkah for Bangladeshis. And their linguistic and their cultural, linkages make them very, very strong neighbors. But at the same time, what Bangladeshis felt against India was that its hegemonistic designs over Bangladesh. Bangladeshis are a very, very, what should I say, that they have a huge respect for their national character, and they do not want to compromise on that. That was the reason they left us. And that was the reason that they would challenge India, that we would not like to be dominated by you. And India was trying to breathe down their necks, which they never accepted. And that is the reason that there is so much of animosity against India, which is not against Pakistan, despite the fact that the 71 looms large on the horizon. But at the same time, there is, with India, there's no love lost, and as against Pakistan. And it is also important for Bangladesh to have good relations with India. It is not in its interest. It is in its national interest to have good relations with India, because it is surrounded from all sides by India, as I said earlier. So for Bangladesh also, it's important. But having said that, I would also like to add here that the relations with China, the building up of relations China, because of the strategic location of Bangladesh. China is one of those countries, unlike America, which never interferes in your domestic affairs. It never it minds its own business. It kind of improves its ties to its economic, linkages. Similarly, this is what Pakistan's, of course, China is and Pakistan are like all weather friends, and about, I think, a couple of months back, there was a meeting in Beijing where China, Bangladesh, and Pakistan got together, and they explored many opportunities where these three, countries can cooperate. Because you see, SAARC is not working. SAARC is, I feel, it's a dead horse. It was a brainchild of late Ziaur Rahman, Tariq Zia's father, Begum Khalida Zia's husband. But because of India's stubbornness, India's intransigence, it is not moving. And I don't see it going anywhere. Now, it's better for the countries which, minus India, they should work together and try and build some kind of an association where these countries, the neighboring countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, and now Afghanistan is, of course, out of is we have just seen what's happened yesterday. So Afghanistan is also not a friendly country. So these other countries like Nepal and as regards the Thimphu is concerned, that is Bhutan, it's totally in India's pocket. It's just a small principality, and I sometimes feel it is just one of the states of India, which Bangladesh had become during Sheikh Hasina's rule. And one more thing I would like to say, that Sheikh Hasina, her name is Sheikh Hasina. She is not Hasina Wajid. Many of our, analysts, they call her, and even the newspapers and the books, they call her Hasina Wajid. That's not her name. Her correct name is Sheikh Hasina. So we should stick to that. I keep telling many people when I'm on the call that that's not her right name. She uses her father's name like Benazir Bhutto.
Thank
So,
you for
I mean,
that,
in
sir.
general, this is what I have to add to your
Thank you, sir,
question.
for that correction, and we will stick to it. And my last question from Sir Tahir will be that how might Bangladesh's post-election foreign policy create a regional create a stability in South Asian region, and what security issues will be uh, accumulating due to these foreign policy uh, interests by the new government in Bangladesh?
As I have already told you, that the one thing which was difficult and that was expected that if this situation is going to continue, the post prior election situation, then what will pre-election situation? Then it can may lead to a chaos, economic chaos, and social chaos and political chaos in the Bangladesh. But one step they have cleared it in a very very good way, very honorable way, that they have gone through the transition and the transfer of power has become very much successful and it has been very peacefully executed. This is one thing. Now, what is the foreign policy? I think what was the this we can found in the near past of Bangladesh because Bangladesh has always avoided the conflicts and particularly with India. And if it is going to continue with this, that not getting into any conflict with India, there have the border issues, territorial issues, issue of the waters. If this thing is going to continue, and they are not going to get into any conflict with India, and they are going to refocus their economic progress, and the way at one point of time, Bangladesh was the country whose industrial sector was contributing more than 60% of its GDP. And that is unique, and that was the highest in whole of the South Asia. In this regard, we can say that Bangladesh will preferably focus on its economic progress. And the way the Dr. Yunus was brought in, he is actually the economic face. He is the economic hitman of the Bangladesh. If this philosophy is going to continue, I think Bangladesh will be on the track. And moreover, during this progress, it has realized that the anti-Pakistani forces, which were gaining ground in Bangladesh, and the way the Sheikh Hasina, thank you, sir, for correcting me in this regard. Sheikh Hasina was going to repeat anti-Pakistani mantra and anti-two nation mantra, the way the symbolism was created over there. I think that is no more effective. That has been dashed. Now, although Bangladesh having a cordial relation with all its neighbors, and particularly including Pakistan, that would benefit it a lot. China is also, Bangladesh is also at good terms with the Bangladesh, with China. And China is the biggest contributor to development over there. If you look into the shipping industry of the Bangladesh, China has a lot of investment over there. Then the textile industry over there. Then the food and package industry over there. Chinese have a lot of investment over there. Even Pakistani has doled out a lot of investment in Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is considered to be a vibrant business hub, trade hub, and the industrial hub. And the new government will definitely choose the way to keep on developing good relation with all these nations. And I think the foreign policy, the one tip which I can give Bangladesh, that avoid the conflict, develop the cooperation, you are going to be hub of economic activity in South Asia.
Perfect.